Hi, my name is Evangelist Tammy Gilbert. I'm just going to come on here and just talk to you, raw talk, give my personal testimony, let you know where I'm at right now. I'm in a place where I'm trusting God like never before. I have been walking with the Lord for a little bit over 29 years. And I've been in ministry for 29 years. And God has blessed me through it all. A lot of people know about my work situation, but then there are those who do not know about my work situation. So I'm not coming on here to defend myself because I don't have to defend myself because God will fight for me. I'm coming on here because there are people that are going through a struggle. There are people that are going through similar situations that I have already been through, that I have overcame, that I overcome. So I want to come over here and encourage people because I am a living testament. I am a living witness that God not only will take care of you and provide your every need, but God, who have placed greatness within inside of you, can pour out the greatness through the adversity. Sometimes adversity have to come in your life in order for God to get you to where he needs to get you. So for those that do know, I was working for the state of Missouri. It was a job that was prophesied to me. I was on a church retreat some X amount of years ago, and it was prophesied that I would work for the state of Missouri, and the location was given, and it was told to me like this. They said, there's a bunch of devil in this place, but God is going to send you there. And when you go there, there are going to be some people that's going to be saved through your life. So that's way back before 2006, this was prophesied. And I began working for the state of Missouri in the year of 2006. And the first person that God saved through my life, everyone knew this lady. She was an awesome person. In 2007, Patricia Knox got saved through my life. And she ran a very good run for the Lord. She died in April 8th of 2015. And everybody saw in 2007 when God saved this woman, the work that she did, the life that she lived. The life that she lived. She became a member of my home church. You know, we did street ministry. We did outreaches, youth ministry. She even helped me, assist me when I was the dean of the Gus Martin district. Just all type of things. But God did exactly what he said. But she's not the only person life that God touched. She was just the first person. She even got filled with the Holy Ghost at work. God did it, you know. And so many people life that she touched through the state of Missouri. And she was a great friend. She was a great friend. She was just good at everything that she did for the state of Missouri and for ministry for God. She was a prayer warrior. She was a forgiving person. She was a loving person and a kind person. So what was prophesied came to pass. And it was said to me, you know, that God was going to use me. So even though I went through a lot of difficulties at the state of Missouri, for the state of Missouri, a lot of unfair treatment, a lot of race discrimination, a whole lot of things I suffer on that job, even sometimes having more work than everyone else on my team. But because God have gave me that job, I worked that job diligently, faithfully, and I did so much at that place to impact, because I impact a lot of people's lives at that place. Everybody know my work ethic. I went over and above because I was dedicated. But I wasn't just dedicated to the work, but I was working for the Lord at the same time. How you live your life matters. How you live your life before God and before his people. Anybody who know me know that I am a woman of integrity. I am a woman of God because I love him and I want to bring glory unto his name. So I worked in this place. I went through some unfair treatment. I even had a boss one time that called me a monkey and didn't see anything wrong with it, but her being of another race should know that it's offensive to call black person a monkey. But I worked under the hands of these type of people. I did this type of work for 17 years and 3 months to be exact. But before the incident happened, before I lost my job, I wrongfully was discharged from a job that I was not written up. I had never been written up. I had never been written up, or I'd never been on a corrective action plan. I was a good worker, So I had an incident, that took place, and I was just trying to stand up for myself, and I reported something, and I lost my job. So I lost my job. I really wasn't given any explanation. They was trying to make it like if I had quit my job, so they lied. But I never did quit my job. I was going to quit my job a year before. I had spoke to my supervisor, and I just told my supervisor a year in advance that I believe that my assignment was up. I believe that the Lord was saying that my assignment was up, and I was going to leave the state of Missouri. But my supervisor convinced me to stay. So I stayed. So I didn't leave when I felt in my spirit that my assignment was up. And the last person, only that person will understand what I'm saying. This last person that I felt my assignment was, that God didn't have anybody else for me there, that I completed everything that he sent me to do at the state of Missouri. So when my supervisor at that time talked me out of, leaving the state of Missouri, all these opposition began to take place, began to just happen. And it was one opposition after another opposition, after another opposition, after another opposition, until it led to that big old thing where the state of Missouri just took my job for me. So as I was being walked out of the door, first I was in disbelief, but I felt a sense of relief. I can't even explain it, but I felt a sense of relief when I was walking out the door, because working up under somebody that don't like you, that have a problem with African American black women, when they have a pattern with African black women, but nobody won't say anything or stand up to it, but the pattern has been exercised even before it got to me. But when it got to me, I'm an innocent person, so I'm not hurt. I'm not upset. I really actually thank the state of Missouri for what they did, because 19 years ago, there was a vision that God gave me, and I spoke with my former pastor at the time when I had this profound dream. And the dream had interpreted itself, and it was so profound that 5 years later I wrote a book about it. But I never got it published. I had never got it published at the time. But there was things that God had begun to speak to me, assignments that God had been giving me and telling me that he want me to do, that I'm going to do X, Y, Z. He was telling me, giving me clear instruction on things that I was going to do and everything. So I even had a dream one time. I was standing in the midst of the sea, and I had this white bloody boar meat that looked like a gold boar, and it was bloody. It was so much blood on it, and I'm standing in the midst of the sea. So the voice of the Lord said, when you are released, this is what's going to happen. And I began to lower that gold boar in the midst of that sea, and fishes for all types of sizes from the north, south, east, and west start coming to clean on that bloody piece of meat. Little bitty fish, medium-sized fish, big fish, all type of fish. And I know fish represents soul. So at that time, I was a member of New Mount Zion Church of God in Christ. I went and talked to my pastor about it and everything. I went and talked to him, and I told him about this vision that I had and everything. And I always thought that when Pastor Smith would release me, that this would happen, but he never did release me. So when I went through this experience, as I was walking out the door, being escorted off state property, God brought that dream back, that vision. He brought it back. And he said, now that you've been released. Never knew that it was always about that 9-to-5 job. That now I'm going to be able to do what God has already put into me to do. God wanted me to be released. He allowed the adversity to come so he can release me from the regular 9-to-5 job so I could go into full-time ministry for God. So that's, you all want to know, that's what I've been doing. I've been in full-time ministry for God. If the devil had known I was going to have this much fun, that I was going to be able to do what God wanted me to do, he would have let me have kept that little bit old job. But now I done been certified. I'm starting my own business. I am a certified business and Christian life coach. God is amazing. He will just blow your mind. Sometimes bad things happen to good people. Sometimes, no matter how you are living right for God and doing everything right for the Lord, it's not going to exempt you from a trial or a tribulation. Sometimes when you are living all that you know how and that you are doing the right thing, adversity go come to try your faith. So when I was being walked out that door, it was a relief. The first thing happened. When I got home, I got a phone call, and I was asked to speak at this women's conference that wasn't even finna happen right then, but they was trying to make preparation for later. And when they asked me to speak at this women's conference, and the subject that they have, the title was Gaining Through Losing. My mind was so puzzled, but I could not take this thing because I knew that God had something to say to his people. Because anybody, when you get a topic like that, gaining through losing, how could you gain anything through losing? Well, with God, you will gain. Sometimes You have to lose people. You may have to lose your job. You may have to lose this or that in order to get to your destiny, because God have a greater plan. God's ways are not our ways. His thoughts are higher than our thoughts. God don't look at things the way we look at it. So we need to learn to look at things through the lens of God. And when you are a child of God, you got to know the devil can't take nothing from you that God do not plan to give back and make the devil pay 7 times more. In everything that happened in your life, God have a plan. I can tell you, I'm not bitter. I'm not upset. I've been praising God in the midst of the storm. I'm not crazy acting like, oh, I'm not going through nothing. No, I recognize that I had a real situation. I had a real problem. That's why when my money was hurting, I went on the altar. I put a prayer cloth in my wallet. I told God my wallet was sick, heal it, and money been coming to me ever since. When I walked out that door, when I went home, I went straight into prayer. I went into seeking God's face. I was already praying before the incident happened. Anybody know me? I am a prayer warrior. I will pray about everything and anything. But because of what happened to me, see, there was things I have done as a baby say, I would mess up, I would trip up and all these different things. I remember when I didn't even think I was going to be able to walk this walk and live this life. But when I went on, when God gave me, either you could be powerful or pitiful. It's your choice, which one. Then when he gave me to go on to be a woman of excellence, I chose to go on to be powerful in God and to be a woman of excellence, to walk with integrity, to be an example to my children, to my husband, to my family, to my siblings, and to anybody who's around me, to my co-workers at the time, to walk in a way that it will please God with your life. So I went home and I prayed, doing something that I always do. But I went into a deeper prayer because I had some questions that I had to put before God. I had to find out, how did God allow this thing to happen? And why did it happen to me? I want to know what's going on. And since for this was my reality, I want to know, so, okay, God, I already had sense that my time was ending, but I didn't know it was going to end like this. What do you want me to do? Well, as I began to keep praying and consult God, God began to give me instruction, and he told me what he wanted me to do. All those years ago, all those different things that he told me that I would be doing. But I didn't believe in myself that way. I didn't think I would be able to do those things. So first it started with me being at New Mount Zion for 24 years. 24 years I was at New Mount Zion. But God always told me that I wasn't going to always be there. I didn't know when the move was going to take place. When he gave it to my husband, I did not want to accept the move. And I fought against it for years. I fought against it. But then I had to seek God. When my husband said, I'm going to do what God told me to do. You can go ahead and stay in New Mount Zion. But I'm going to move forward. So I talked to the first lady at that time that was in my life, and that was missionary Mozella Smith. And I talked to her, and I told her that my husband had heard from the Lord, and he's ready to go somewhere else, and everything. But I had been there 24 years, and I just didn't want to leave the familiar and leave the people and the relationship that I established with so many different ones at New Mount Zion. I didn't want to go. And Mother Smith told me, she said that I needed to pray and really see God, that I did not want to be a woman that was going to two different churches. She said a lot of women do it. Some women do it. She said, but I know you're not that type of woman that you would want to be in two separate places. So she said, seek the Lord. Seek the Lord on this and do what God say. So that's what I did. And when God gave me that it was time to go, I had to leave. But it was like going into an unfamiliar place. It was like the rug was being snatched from under my feet. You know, it was like the rug was snatched from up under my feet. And when we transitioned to the sanctuary where God sent us, you know, God told us to be still and know that he's God. So the first day when we went in there, March 24, 2019, that's when they had programs at the time. It said, be still and know that I am God. But not only that, I was still fighting in there. I didn't want to listen to the music they was playing. I didn't want to do a whole lot of different things, period. I just really wanted to be at New Mount Zion. But at the end of a service, there was a man that walked up to me. And he said to me, he said, I want you to meet my wife. He didn't ask me my name, where I came from, anything. He said, I know you're going to like her because she black. So I'll explain that later why he said that. So I went and meet this lady. And she said, she didn't ask me how long you been saved, if you saved, what church you came from, what's your name. She didn't say none of that. She said, I hear the Lord saying, where you was at for 24 years. She said, where you was at for 24 years. The Lord said, you did good, but your assignment there is over. Now embrace where he's about to take you. And I couldn't fight no more with being at the sanctuary. And her name is Sister Gina Davis. She's a powerful prayer warrior and a powerful woman of God. But she said that to me, and it just forever settled in my spirit that even though I don't know why God at the time led us to the sanctuary, me and my husband, that I'm going to trust him. Even though I don't understand, this in 2019, that I don't understand what he's doing. I don't even know where he's leading me and why we here. But because I love him, I'm going to trust him. Because he said it was time to move, and I'm just going to trust him. Now, in 2024, when I look back on March of 2024, being walked off of state property, going into a place of uncertainty, but because God had already prepared me how to live in uncertainty when he shifted me from the church that I knew, no other church other than New Mount Zion. So sometime, one situation, God is preparing you and building you for that big thing that's coming in your life. God knew it was going to be an end date to stay. But God had to get me positioned where he already put in me where I could stand without knowing what he doing, that I would still trust him. See, what the devil meant for evil, God began to use for good. See, what the devil didn't know, God had already prepared me for the ugly that was going to happen on that job. God had already prepared me how to live with walking by faith and not by sight. Because I love New Mount Zion so much, it was the only place I knew. And God took me to an area, to a place where it's all type of people at the sanctuary. It's not just black people, but it's all races at the sanctuary. So God took me to a land of unfamiliarity that I didn't know not one person there when I got there. I didn't know the pastor. I didn't know his team. I ain't know nobody. But I worked with my pastor at New Mount Zion. I worked with the sister pastor at that time. I knew everybody in the church. I knew the whole church, all the families, everybody. I did Sunday school. I did prayer meetings. I did outreaches. I did everything. I was the dean over the Gus Martin Den. Wherever they had, I was there. Morning, noon, night, wherever. Wherever they had, I was there. 24 years, a faithful member. But God was preparing me for the unfamiliar. To be able to walk with a trust that if God lead, I will follow. So when the incident happened, the devil thought it was going to take me out of here. It was designed that it was supposed to kill me. But it birthed out everything that God already put in me. Everything that I doubted about myself. I got so comfortable at the state of Missouri. I got so comfortable working there that sometimes I couldn't do certain things for God because either I was tired, because I was working a full-time job, I was faithful to church, and I was mentoring so many different people. So God knew in order for me to go into my divine purpose that he had set for me, he had to take away the regular 9-to-5 job so that I can go into full-time ministry. That anybody who know me know God had been saying this for many of years, that one day I will be in full-time ministry. Thanks to the state of Missouri, I am in full-time ministry. All the different things that I didn't have time to do, I did it because I had the time to do it. I am a published author with 16 books. That one book that 14, 15 years ago that I did write after 19 years ago having a vision about it is now published. I am a published author. God is an amazing God. And God has blessed me. I have a husband that loves me, that's supportive of me, that always try to push me into ministry. When it happened, he said everything is okay because he don't mind, covering everything himself. But I got used to having my own money because I use my portion of my money for ministry. My husband always allowed me to use my portion. I paid a couple of bills, but I used it for ministry because God may tell me to do something for a stranger. And I would do it. Anybody know me, I would do it. And I ain't talking about no little stuff. But that's how I always pay for my conferences and everything, because I want to always provide something free to the people of God. I never wanted to have a cost to having outreaches or having conferences, even though it's okay to do it to help offset the prices of the money that you put into all this. But because there was time when I was a baby saint and there was certain conferences that I would have wanted to go to, but I couldn't afford to go to, I always asked God to just allow me to be able to provide this for the people. And that's what he have done. So even being off work, when I was walked out of that door, I had a conference where I spent the most money that I ever spent. And the people didn't even know. In April, in that conference that was set up for women's and what they had been through, it was a powerful conference. But they did not have no idea that I did not have a job. But God supplied everything I need and everything I wanted to have that conference. So God showed me that even without a regular 9-to-5 job. If he tell me he want me to do something, you best believe that Sister Tammy is going to be able to do it. If God tell me to go bless this stranger and to do it like if they was my own blood, guess what? God going to put that money in my hand. He's going to do it. Now, I'm going to just shift right there. I'm going to just stop about that. I'm going to just tell you. Before this incident, I had already been living a life where I have been seeing the hand of God. I have seen the miraculous hand of God. When my great aunt was alive, she had such a unique faith that one time God told her to go outside because she had needed some money, and it was $50. Then he told her go to this side, and it was $50. So she had $100. And I said, Lord, I just want that type of faith where, you just believe God. And because she said God is her friend, that, whatever, that you could just talk to him. I said, I want that kind of faith. So one time I had needed some money. I didn't have no gas. I had needed to take my daughter somewhere. And I'm talking about this from years ago. And I ain't have no gas money. And people say money won't come out the sky. But for me, it did. Because it was some money got caught up in my windshield wipers. So from then on, I just knew that favor is better than anything. When a favor of God is on your life, God will take care of you. I know how to go grocery shopping with God. God will let you go in the store at the right time, and he'll have everything that you're going to buy on sale, on discount. I have seen the hand of God. So in this situation, everybody, I done told what I did with the prayer cloth, how I put it in my wallet, told God my wallet was sick, healing. Well, I'm going to tell you, I can even give you some names. Now, they ain't know I was going to do this. I ain't know I was going to do this either. But somebody need to know that God is real and that God will make ways out of no way. Well, there was a sister named Gina. She came to my house in the snow. I wanted to know what would make this woman come out in the snow. But the woman came to my house, and there was a certain amount of money that she had. She said, my husband, Josh, told me to bring this to you. And he said, we're going to give you this in January, we're going to give you this in February, and we're going to give you this in March. And I said, oh my God. I said, in March, it'll be a year that I'll be off that job. And she was like, oh, really? I'm like, yeah. She's like, oh my God. But right then, when she releasing this in my hands, I get a phone call from Miss Michelle, who used to be a tip for the state of Missouri. And haven't seen or heard from her in a long time. But she said, God just been impressing this on my heart. I just need to know how to get this to you. Do you have Cash App? This woman Cash App me $200. Ain't seen her, ain't talked to her. And then the woman, I still contact her, just say hi and everything. But I'm talking about no strings attached. She just released it, and Miss Michelle will say hi and everything, but she just don't just keep up with people like that. So it ain't like, oh, give you the money, and oh, I want you to do this, this, this. No, just release. She said God told her. But then Sister Lydia came to my house. This is a member of New Mount Zion, Church of God in Christ. Came to my house. She had 50 $1 bills. In one, and then she had 50 $1 bill, 51 $1 bills wrapped up. She said, this is for me and this is for Myra. This is our tip. She said, they're tip money. Now, anybody know for somebody to get a tip, you got to give good customer service, but who give away their tip money? I cried like a baby. I cried like a baby for everybody. I have had people contact me and say, well, like my cousin Helen, she said, I'm not going to buy the book. I'm going to just send you $100. Give me your Cash App. So you got a lot of different people saying, I'm not going to buy the book, but I'm going to give you $100. Well, the book, all my books is only $20-something, but somebody give me $100 versus $20-something. I say, I don't mind if you do. I'm not offended. I'm not upset that some people don't want to buy my book. I'm not upset if they want to give me $100 in place of a $23 book. So what? God is amazing. He will blow your mind. But then some of them will still turn around and say, well, I'm going to go and get the book anyway. Because a lot of these books have been things that I already had. God told me all you got to do is go in your prayer room or go down in your basement. Go get your paperwork. I done did 29 years of ministry. All you got to do is take your sermon. You can take a sermon, turn it into a book. That's all you got to do. Your life experience, what you've been through, what you have accomplished, you can just put it in a book. Your testimony, you can put it in a book. But he said, I'm going to go further than that. You put this in a book and I'm going to show you. You're going to get courses out of your book. Then you're going to get lessons out of the course. He showed me how to take one product to make it into 3 products. He said, I have given you the power to get wealth. You have to do something. I have given you the gift. I have given you the talent. But all you got to do is work what I gave you. So this is what we got to understand, that God has given us the means to create wealth for ourselves. So I speak it into existence because 6 months before my great aunt died, she called me and said that God told her to tell me that I am a successful woman. And I said, who, me? And she said, yes, you. For the last 6 months of her life, every day, my great aunt told me that I am a successful woman. I couldn't see it because of all the different things. God knows where I had insecurity, and I had to put those insecurity in him because he said, greater is he that's in me than he that's in the world. And God was telling me I can do these different things, but I did not think I can do it because when I was illiterate, when I didn't know how to spell my name, when I was growing up, I failed the 2nd grade. Then my brother ended up in my same classroom. He got a double master. He got 2 master's degrees. And he was always smart. And he would make an A on everything, just ace it. My little brother, he would just ace it. But I would get an F. So I always felt just like I was the dumb one in the family because all my little siblings, they are just so smart. They so book tech. But I was street smart, and everything. But God, when he saved me at the age of 23, I began to understand things and to be able to articulate things, be able to comprehend things a little better. When you say yes to the Lord, you don't know that God will make you smarter, but he did. And God have a sense of humor. Here it is. I was a person that struggled with academics, with academics, but he made me a writer. I write better than I talk, But God is that kind of God. God is a God that will supply all of your needs. And I have seen the hand of God. It's so many more different testimony. Just like one day, I went to the mailbox. I tell people, you can get that mailbox blessing. You can get a mailbox blessing. I went to the mailbox. And this is so unique. This don't happen to a lot of people. And this person who did it, a lot of people don't do this. I went to the mailbox. And I got this letter. And I'm reading this little card. And it says, I don't know why you're going through what you're going through. But I know, one thing I know is God is somehow going to get the glory out of this. And it was a check for $1,000 from Pastor Bland, my pastor. Who pastor does that? I didn't ask this man for nothing. He was just praying about my job situation, and this man sent me $1,000. How many churches would do that? I just thank the Lord because once again, God was providing a way for me to pay my tithe. But at that time, I had a conference going on. So God made provision for me to still do what he wanted me to do, even without a 9-to-5 job. One day I went to church, and this man handed me this card. And he didn't even know about my situation. But he said, don't open it up till you get home. But when we opened that card up, me and my husband, he said, this is a heavenly blessing from God. And God, I want to thank you for working for God. But he didn't even know that the day before I had just told God, I don't mind being a housewife. I just don't want to be a broke one. That's what I told God. I don't mind being a housewife. I just don't want to be a broke one. I had just told God that. And it was 5 $100 bills. And that was from Brother Jimmy. When I went to go thank him the next Sunday and to tell him my testimony, he said he had no idea. He did not even know that I had lost my job, what I was going through, none of that. But see, God will bless you. God will bless you. God will bless you. God will bless you. I want to encourage someone because I received from the last video where somebody said they sleeping in their car. Well, I'm a person, I've been homeless before. My husband been homeless. Not in the years that we've been married. But we both have experience. So this is why me and my husband, we know about trials and tribulation. But both of us have a strong faith in God because we know where God has brought us from. So when I tell you that I can tell you that you could be at your lowest, the only thing you got to do is look up. Because there's nowhere else for you to go. When you at your lowest, the only way is up. So look up. Because it's a temporary situation. What I want to tell that person who say they are sleeping in their car, go on YouTube and look up Arlan Hamilton, Arlan. She's a young black woman that was homeless, that was sleeping in her car. And she has the formula for how to become a multi-millionaire. She was homeless, but she have over 200 companies right now. Look her up on YouTube. Listen to a lot of her videos and allow God to speak to your heart. I don't know if she's a person that believes in God. I never heard her say anything about God or anything like that. I don't know all of her life story. I just know some of the videos that I have seen that she's a blessed young woman who have created wealth for herself, that was once in a situation that she have a story to tell that she can tell other people because she's not in that situation anymore. So I can tell you, I'm not a multi-millionaire, but I am rich in the Lord. I am blessed. God have made ways out of no way, but I know that one day I'm going to be living an even better life. Because I'm going to business for myself. And God is going to bless because God is the one who gave it to me. I have 7 clients already. God is an amazing God. So I want to encourage somebody. I want them to know for real, from a person who have been through many struggles in life. All my life have been built on overcoming this struggle. God said we are more than conquerors. And because we are more than conquerors, I believe that God put in us to overcome this, then you overcome that. That you will always be overcoming something. So there's always something to conquer. So you can listen to me because I've been there. I'm a humble person. I have not forgotten where God had brought me from. I have not forgotten what God have done for me. My nose not up there. I don't think I'm all high and mighty. I'm not a perfect person. I am imperfect. All of us has flaws. But one thing is for sure, my main goal is to live all I know how for God. I'm trying to live a life to leave behind a legacy to my children. That when my time comes, and let's pray that I live to be old, to be an old woman. But whenever my time comes, I'm trying to leave a legacy for my children that I love God, that I live for him. I love God and I love his people. I'm a people person. And that I have done the best that I can to live a life that will glorify God, where he will get the glory out of my life. Before I end this, I'm just going to read some out of my book called It Wasn't Easy. This book was inspired by my oldest son. When he got grown, he came to me. He said, Baba, when we was growing up, you made the struggle look easy. Because he had to have some struggle in his own life. So he found out that struggles are not so easy all the time. He said, Mama, you made the struggle look easy. But in all reality, the struggle was never easy. It was just by the grace of God that I made it through the struggle. So in this book, chapter 7 of this book, I wrote a word of encouragement through the struggle to my children. And it say, my dear children, as I sit here reflecting on all that we have been through, my heart is full of love, hope, and gratitude for each of you. I want you to know something important. Life has never been easy for me. And it won't always be easy for you either. But the beauty of life lies not in the ease of our journey, but in how we rise above the challenge, how we grow through the struggle, and how we come out stronger on the other side. You may not fully understand now, but the struggle you face today will one day be the story you will tell about how you overcame. Just like the struggle I face, your challenges may seem too big to handle, too heavy to carry, and too hard to face. There will be times when life feels unfair, when you feel like giving up, or when everything seems to be going wrong. But in those moments, remember this. Your struggle do not define you, but how you handle them does. I walked through many seasons of difficulty. I lost my father at the age of 4. And shortly after that, my mother passed away when I was a teenager. I had to step up as a leader in our family at the time when I felt so broken inside. I didn't have all the answers. And I certainly didn't have everything figured out. But I knew one thing. I had to keep going. I had to push forward. Not only for myself, but for you, for my siblings, my family, and for my future. During these moments of hardship, I often ask myself, why me? Why us? And there were times when it felt like life was so unfair and so difficult. I wanted to give up, but what I've learned is that the struggle is part of the journey. It is in the midst of the storm that we find our true strength. It is in the darkest of night that we learn to appreciate the light that will always come in the morning. Weeping may endure for the night, but joy comes in the morning. And when we push through, no matter how hard it is, we are able to look back and see how far we come. One of the most important lessons I want you to take away from my life is this: you are not alone in your struggles. Even when it feels like the weight of the world is on your shoulder, remember that God is with you. God is guiding you and carrying you through. When I was in my darkest moment, I learned to lean on God. And it was through his strength that I was able to keep going. Yes, the struggle was real. And yes, they were hard. But when I said yes to God, everything changed. I was no longer facing these challenges alone. There will be days when the journey feels overwhelming. Maybe you will face tests that challenge your faith like it challenged mine. You challenge your patience or even your strength. But I want to remind you of something important. Your struggle do not last forever. I can promise you that. They may feel long and drawn out. But just as night give way to the dawn, your hard time will eventually lead to breakthrough. Every test, every trial is an opportunity for growth. You may not see it at first, but each obstacle you overcome will shape you into the person you are meant to be. Look around at the beauty of life, despite the struggle. There is beauty in the love we share, in the simple moments, in the lesson we learn, and in the way we support one another. Life is full of opportunity to grow, to love, and to learn. And the best part is, the struggle is not the end of your story. It's just a chapter. Don't be discouraged by the difficult chapters in your life. You are stronger than you think. And the beauty of your journey lies in how you rise above the struggle. The beauty of life is in the hope that tomorrow brings. Yes, life is full of tests, but it's also filled with moments of triumph, joy, and peace. It's filled with the beauty of new beginnings, the strength we find in each other, and the grace we receive from God. So don't allow your current circumstance to dictate your future. Keep pushing forward. Keep striving. And know that you have everything inside of you to rise above. And when life gets tough, and it will, remember this: I am here. God is here. And we will always find a way through. You are stronger than any obstacle, braver than any fear, and love more than you could ever imagine. The road may not always be easy, but it will always be worth it. I believe in you. I have seen you overcome so much already, and I know that you are destined for greatness. Keep trusting in God. Keep leaning on each other and keep pushing forward. The struggle is just part of your story. It is not the end. It is the beginning of something even greater. With all of my love, Mom. This is something that I wrote to my children in this book. But in this book, I have wrote a lot of my own personal testimony, even about the death of my dad, the loss of my mother, how I had to step up and help raise my siblings. This is a story about a woman who have been through the struggle of life, but have overcame it. This is about faith, strength, and transformation. This is about being resilient. And the only way you can do that is through God. I want you to continue to pray for me as I pray for you.